on. But
Yeah.
one thing that I noticed is that when you have sex with a girl, when you're like in your teens and stuff, she's using it to really experiment with her body.
Mm-hmm.
She hit puberty. She's like, "Oh, I've matured. I want to experiment with my body." So
Yeah.
those are her intentions.
Yeah.
Later on, when you get a bit older, what I've realized is that she knows the power that her body has, and she no longer wants to experiment. She wants to take advantage and use it as a fucking bargaining tool.
Ah.
And that's what I've realized. It's like
Interesting.
anytime, like I noticed when I was younger, when girls would sleep with you, it felt genuine. It felt like they really
Yes.
wanted to bond with you. It was real genuine. But now at this age, I'm like, fuck, dude, what do you want? You want something
Yeah.
more. You're not. No girl just sleeps with you for free.
You want to know you want my answer to
realized.
that question, or you want my answer to that
Yeah, let's
statement?
hear it.
So here's how it goes, bro.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, you're absolutely right. They're honing it, but here's the thing. Once they hit their 20s, they're here. It's kind of like a two-part thing, right? So yeah, they're experimenting, but when they're in their teens, it's more genuine because they can still bond with you. So yeah, they want to experiment, but at the same time, when you have sex with a girl in her teens, who's fairly inexperienced, the sex is real. She's not jaded yet. She hasn't lost her ability to pair bond with you and truly fall for you.
Right.
So once she hits her 20s, she's already been with 10, 20, 30 guys. So now she's jaded in the sense where she doesn't know how to bond with you anymore. And she's like, all right, well, since I can't bond with a man, there's nothing left to do but manipulate them. So now she's just honing in on her manipulation skills, using men for money, using men for dates, free dinners, shit like that, pay my rent. So, because you gotta understand, why would a woman that has the capacity to love a man become a gold digger, right? It's only women who are empty and fucked up and scorned that start using men for money and free shit. So right around the time a girl hits her early 20s, she's already lost the ability to pair bond, and that's when she goes into, well, at least I can get some stuff out of them, So the women in their teens, it's not this calculated thing where they're experimenting with their body and then they know they're honing it, and by the time they get in their 20s, they're gonna be the master gold digger. It's kind of like an accidental thing. They experiment in their teens not knowing it's gonna fuck them up psychologically, and then by the time they get to their early 20s, they're fucked up, and they're just like, well, at least I can just use this to get money now.
Right.
And that's
if they
why
get
women in
away
their
with it,
20s, that's why women in their 20s are so much harder to fuck than women in their teens, because at this point they're these jaded, empty fucking gold diggers.
yeah, and I mean, they're really, really aware that
Yeah.
guys just want to fuck them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. But I got one more question.
Sure.
So I really don't want to see women suffer. Like, it really sucks. I don't enjoy seeing other people suffer. But I'm straight up curious. What do you think's going to happen when these chicks, they hit their 30s and they get to the age of 35 and they realize that they don't have that power anymore? And it's kind of funny to think about, because some of them deserve that power to be stripped away
There's
from them.
two things that happen.
I know it's coming.
There's two things that happen. They'll either get pumped and dumped by the guys in their early 20s, late teens and early 20s, and mid 20s and late 20s actually, or they'll have the guys that want to commit to them, right? But the only guys that want to commit to them, the only guys that want to commit to a 35 or 40-year-old woman or whatever, are like 35 to 40-year-old beta males, right? Because the 35 to 40-year-old alpha males, they're either traveling the world, getting money, fucking tons of 21-year-olds, or they're married to a nice, submissive woman that they met in their early 20s or some shit, and they're committed to their wife, or they're in a fucked up marriage. But the point is, a woman that much older, all she's gonna have is older beta males going for her, or young 20 somethings that just want to practice on her as a sex object. That's about it.
Yeah, I've always just been curious about that, because I see it coming, because I know that MGTOW is growing, and I like to think that,
man,
I can't say this for sure, I can't speak for other males, but I like to think that it's growing in popularity, and that young men are catching on to the fact that Western American women, bitches ain't shit over here.
Yeah. And here's the thing, bro. MGTOW doesn't even have to catch on, because if you think about it, most guys in 2018 are following MGTOW principles, whether they know it or not. Most guys aren't. Most guys, like, dude, guys could never hear about MGTOW for the rest of their lives, and most guys are MGTOWs. This is just the name for it, you know. So most guys are pumping and dumping, right? Most guys are not getting married. Most guys don't even have money anymore to spend on women because the fucking recession is so bad and there isn't even that many jobs. Most men don't even have much money to spend on women. So it's going that way regardless. Even if MGTOW died tomorrow and they shut down every YouTube channel, this is the direction it's going. And because you got to understand, the last couple generations of men and women have been raised with no values anyways. So the guys are going to be fuckboys by default. You think any Generation Z guys or the generation after Generation Z are going to have any idea how to marry women and have values and raise a solid nuclear family? Fuck no.
No way.
Exactly. Yeah. So no one I know my age can even do that. So you're going to have a lot more single moms, because here's the thing. Women are still going to want kids, right? They're going to want to fulfill that biological, they're going to want to fulfill that biological need to have kids. Even though the men don't know how to marry them and help them raise the family because they're fucking retarded and they're on opioids. So women are going to settle for being single moms. You're going to see a fucking single mom apocalypse in like the next 10 to 15 years. That's my prediction, at least.
Yeah, I don't mean to take up too much airtime, but yeah, I totally agree with that. There's this girl that I work with, and I used to sleep around with her like 3 years ago, and then we started working in the same building. And I told her, you know, I'm here to make a paycheck. That's it. No complications. You know, we can be friends. That's it. But there was still this attraction there, and there still is over and over. But she's thrown up so many fucking red flags for me, man. Like she just won't shut her mouth, and I can see that she views men as just this walking sperm bank and a wallet. And you know, one thing she said to me the other day, she's like, "Oh, Hunter, you're going to be such a good father someday," and all this. And she's like, "Do you want kids?" And you know, I tried to dodge that subject, and then I turned it around on her and I asked her, "Do you want to get married?" She dodged the question and said, "I want kids." And so she completely fucking dodged, "Do you want to get married to another man?" And just her answer straight up was, "I want kids." And I was like,
Jesus Christ,
holy shit, you are so twisted. That's really what you want. And you know, man, that's just how it goes.
And you know why? And you know, when she's saying like, "I just want kids," these women, like we just talked about, who just want something out of a man and they don't want to love a man, that's because she spent her teen years experimenting, right? And bonding to guys, and then it didn't work out because they were fucking 18-year-old fuckboys, right? And so now she's scorned and jaded, and now she just wants to use a man for a kid.
Right.
That's how that happens. Women, because I remember, dude, when I was like 17, 18, and I was dating girls that were 17, 18, they fucking loved me, man. Like they couldn't be without me for 10 minutes, bro, because they still had the capacity to love. But after, I'd say, the third or fourth guy, they lose that shit forever. And girls I fucked with in their early 20s, mid 20s, late 20s, 30s, they're like heartless zombies, man. After the sets, they're like, "Yeah, okay, I gotta go to work tomorrow, you know, see you next year." I'm like, shit. Like they're more nonchalant than I am. I'm like, dude, goddamn, like they are fucking heartless. So because they wasted that ability in their late teens when they were experimenting, you know.
Oh yeah, man. They give up their best years for all of the shitty guys that they're attracted to, but ultimately there's not the guys that they want to settle down with.
Yeah.
Shit, what else was I gonna say? I was gonna say one more thing. Fuck, I'll go